A quick heads up, we are getting into some potentially triggering content today regarding SA and violence, so please be mindful while watching.
Singer David is facing charges after Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a 14-year-old girl, was found unalived in the trunk of a Tesla. The romantic homicide singer appears to have taken his hit song and turned it into a real-life tragedy.
We watched the Nature Boy docs on Hulu and YouTube showing how a black utopia turned into a straight-up cult. We're doing a deep dive into how a digital predator went from preaching liberation to forcing exploitation.
All that and more on this episode of the Black and Snerdy Podcast.
Adam has arrived.
Hey, Maurice and Odie gonna take over like Zach and Cody. Black and Snerdy is the best podcast. Gonna boom like Wile E. Coyote. Gonna make magic, they move like they hairy. Ain't talking about mental health, no, it's not scary. You know that she coming up with the astrology. Mo got a comic and that's the best policy. Maurice the GOAT, talking about animation cause you know. Odie, she moving wavy like the boat. Watching some movies and she taking notes. Yeah, kick back, listen. Black and Snerdy have risen. Upload on a mission. 5 stars, never dissing. Black and Snerdy, ooh. Black and Snerdy, yeah. Black and Snerdy.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Snerdy Podcast, the only podcast where two sexy black nerds get together to shoot the shit. I am Mo, aka Kid Licorice.
And I'm Odie.
And together we are the aforementioned Snerds here on episode 186 of the Black and Snerdy Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling okay. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Have some things coming up, I guess. Yeah, I'm okay for the
What are these things
part.
coming up?
I have a deadline. I have to gather a bunch of documents together in order to send them off. I have to make a important call, which in New York, when it comes to calls to governing bodies, can be a whole day affair, essentially.
Yes.
I am notoriously on unemployment. And I have to deal with some stuff regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's very time consuming, time involving, a lot of documents, a lot of emails that got to get sent out, and I have to take care of it. And I just have to knuckle down and do it.
Yeah, one thing about New York, well, probably not just New York, about this country is bureaucracy is everywhere. It makes everything suck. It makes everything annoying. It takes forever. And there's really nothing for you to do besides just grin and bear it.
With that being said, shall we go into the pop topics?
I would love to.
When you want a hot meal without a big deal, what are you gonna pick?
Pop topics. Now, with pop topics, we usually talk about the things that are happening right now in pop culture. And unfortunately, right now, the subject matter is going to be heavy. Like we said in the opening, things that we're going to be discussing with these two topics are going to be disturbing and triggering. So we wanted to offer a quick warning. To everybody who's listening. If you want to jump ahead, if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, jump ahead to some lighter shenanigans. For those of you who are watching on Instagram, yay.
You're gonna have to see it through, my boy.
You're gonna have to power through. But we are gonna be talking about the David case. For you who are not uninitiated, David, spelled D4VD.
Terrible name.
It is
terrible.
It is. I understand it, but it is.
I think the VD part always just makes me think of venereal disease. And he's a diseased person, so I guess it makes sense. Terrible name.
It is a terrible name. I'm not going to be laughing during this section. I just wanted to get that out because of the naming convention. It's not different than ASAP Mob and
it's not, but
Kesha.
those were better. I can't. Maybe it's because I think that maybe doing the $ instead of an S makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the 4 for an A doesn't make sense, and this could just be my
it's like
ADHD. I don't know.
I'm
just certain things make sense. This doesn't, and so I've hated it from the moment I saw it.
It's like Fan Four Stick. The Josh Trank
Yes.
Fantastic Four movie
it was stupid. That was dumb as well.
It was terrible. Fan Four Stick.
It was a terrible
Not a good movie. But,
and not a good movie, but also a terrible name.
Yeah.
So foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Terrible names equate to terrible people. Because here we are.
Here we are.
But the David case, we spoke about it a few months ago. It's not a few months ago. Initially, the case started making headlines in September because September 2025 was when Celeste Rivas Hernandez, her body was found, unfortunately, in the trunk of a Tesla that had been impounded in Los Angeles, and that had been owned by David. And so when the story initially dropped, there was no suspects for the police. Of course, everybody else online were suspecting David. And now he's facing first-degree charges of unaliving her. Because of all the evidence that the police have found, both physical and electronic. And so here we are now with him getting charged. So he was arrested on April 16th of this year at his home in Hollywood Hills and is currently being held without bail.
I do want to point out a couple of things. One, there is a YouTube channel called Jay Wisdom. He breaks down the sort of psychology of a lot of like famous people based on the public record information that is available. You know, these music artists will go on interviews and talk about their early beginnings, their history, and what formed and shaped their, you know, whole identity and who they are and stuff. And then, of course, they'll dissect their music. They will dissect their interviews and sort of paste together a breakdown of the style of their psychology. I found the video on David very like interesting. I think that it literally helps to, you know, and obviously it's very armchair psychiatrist.
Yeah. So the
style shit. So it's like you can take it with like a grain of salt, but it does help gain potential insight into the kind of person who would ultimately end up allegedly doing the thing that he is accused of.
So just to be clear, the YouTuber you're talking about, they're not a psychologist or therapist or anything. They don't have any degrees. It's more so they're using information they've learned about these people to kind of give insight into how we've gotten to where we are right now.
Funny enough, I actually don't know if this person on this.
What did you say their name was?
Jay Wisdom.
Jay Wisdom. Okay.
Yeah, Jay Wisdom. I don't know if this person is a psychiatrist or a psychologist or what have you, or has a degree. He to me, he is just a YouTuber who is really good at doing research and doing deep dives into various people. He has one on Trump. He has one on the Island Man.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Island Man or Island Boys.
No, Island Man.
Oh, I'm not sure who that is.
You do know who that is.
Oh,
there's a bunch of files on that guy.
Yes, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. He has one on Juice WRLD. Like he has a lot of really interesting breakdowns on various people and in both real life and fiction. And the videos are very well done. I do recommend everybody go check them out. I'm just saying that the one on David I found very fascinating. So
I don't know. Well, what I know about David, because before this case came to my attention, I didn't know who he was. I had never heard his song. I know that he has toured with like SZA. He was touring with Kali Uchis. He was touring with her actually when this case dropped and people started speculating him, and then she removed him off the tour. I believe he made a song with 21 Savage. But I honestly had no real knowledge of who he was. So could you tell us who is he? Like what's his background, and all, etc. Because I have no clue outside of this situation and like what I've learned about him. Like I know he was born in New York. He was raised in Texas. I believe he may have been homeschooled.
Yes. David essentially started off as like a essentially homeschool kid, not being able to socialize with kids because he was homeschooled, and he blew up through doing
Twitches.
I don't know if that was the platform that he used, but essentially like social media gaming stuff.
Okay.
He created a Discord. He connected with people through gaming and live chatting with people while he was gaming and broadcasting his gaming stuff and setup and what have you.
Well, I know that that a lot has been put on, or the investigators have been looking into a lot of the Discord, because that is apparently where he met Celeste.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of folks who were in the Discord came up before he was ever arrested to bring forth information of either him talking to Celeste, kind of salacious conversations that were being had or they saw, or other people who they said he like underage people that they said he may have been talking to, and they were getting that information from the Discord, which is really interesting. And I think it speaks to like we have all these parasocial relationships.
Yes.
And I think that like when we were younger, of course, when you were online, it was always conversation with your teachers, with your parents and everyone that like the internet is a wild, wild west.
Yes.
You have to be very careful, stranger danger, all these things. But now with social media, it's just the lines have been so blurred.
Currently, where we stand right now, as far as this generation, they have easy access to the internet and social media without the guardrails and the resources and the oversight to put the connections that they are making on the internet and on social media into proper context. But I also think that it's as much as it is on her parasocial relationship development on her end, it's as much of a parasocial developmental relationship identifier when it comes to him as well. You know what I mean? Like, and this is not me necessarily, I'm not excusing like him, but from the records that has been shown, this is a motherfucker who literally was like homeschool, isolated, made no actual touch grass friends.
Yeah.
In real life, had to dive into a world of, parasocial relationship through gaming and social media and Twitch and what have you, explored his art through that and explored dark sectors of his life through that. And that was his development. He went on record and said that he, in his Discord, was looking up very brutal nonsense at a young age. He looked at cartel unalivings, and he would dive into that level of horror purposefully at such a pivotal age of development that led and helped to the quaffing of his whole romantic homicide aesthetic. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen
music.
It's more extreme than emo music. Like emo music, I was like, oh, I'm in pain. No, emo music is I'm in pain. His style of music is I'm in pain, and also I want connection, and also the people that I want connections with are in pain, and I'm gonna inflict that pain on those people who are in a relationship because whatever. Like it is
incel music?
I wouldn't call it incel music. Incel music is, first off, I don't even know what incel music would be.
Drake. I'm just thinking of like if the music is I'm not having the life that I want and I'm seeing other people with it and I want to cause them harm.
This is the weirdest time to defend Drake, but I wouldn't call Drake incel music. He's fuckboy music, not incel music.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
both two things could be true. I'm curious of like the idea of him being so immersed in sort of the negative, dark aspects of social media, and looking into like unalivings on YouTube, etc. If that is something that we could even point to as a factor in where he is today, because I think about how when we were younger, this idea of like kids watching scary movies or they're playing video games, that's why we're having, you know, mass pew-pews at schools and things like that. When I think that as much as that can give someone, I don't know, enjoyment, I am not sure that it actually equates to someone's like pursuing that as a desire.
But here's the thing. It's not when I bring these things up as far as like his development, I'm not saying that this led to a desire to ultimately unalive the 14-year-old victim.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying this is a mental framework for why somebody would ultimately do this. Personally, based on the case that is currently available and based on the documents that the lawyers in the case are currently putting out there as far as the timeline of things, it seemed like it was more of a opportunistic thing. The lawyers are saying that essentially they had a physical relationship and at some point they broke up. And the victim was distressed at David apparently, you know, being involved with other people or other women and wanted more from their relationship and threatened to expose their relationship for what it was. From there, allegedly, the timeline that's being presented by the lawyers is that he, you know, got her Uber, had her come over. He did what he did allegedly, and then proceeded to spend the next few days taking care of that thing. That reads to me more as opportunistic, but from a psychological standpoint, it more so sets the stage for why somebody would do it, not you know, that somebody would get a thrill out of it. You know what I mean?
I guess then it would be why would he, number one, because if they allegedly met when she was 11 and he was 17, the first thing is, why would you even think it was appropriate for you to spark up any kind of relationship with an 11-year-old, right? And then the idea of you not only start just a communication relationship, then you are having her get Ubers from her house to yours. You're spending all this time with her. You're traveling around taking her from California to London to Texas and meeting your family. And then after this time that you've built in this relationship and putting yourself in the space to become, you know, a registered offender, then once she has, for whatever reason, I know that they have said that he was allegedly talking to other girls or women, not sure if they were underage or not, but that because of that if she was allegedly going to expose their relationship, your response to that is to unalive her. I find it like to be more so telling to what our society has, the space our society has created for men, young or old, in that they find it so easy to harm girls and women and not take a second breath. Because if the timeline from what the lawyers are saying happened and the different interviews that he was doing throughout that time, like, it doesn't show someone who's like full of remorse or anything like that. Like, he was still going on with his own life. There was a time when I believe he was on Twitch in June of this past year, and he was like, "Oh, sorry guys, my house is smelling." And the lawyers are alleging that was because he had body parts in the house. And that's horrifying to me, that a 21-year-old young person, and it's like, he was young, she was younger, and none of this situation feels like it should have. There's nothing about it that should have taken place. And how does someone 21 years old go down such a dark path? And what is it that we're not doing as a society to keep our young people safe and to keep our young people from going down a road where they are having such disregard for life?
What would you say as far as like your final statement on the David case so far?
I hope that her family is able to get whatever justice that they are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they're able to find out exactly what happened to their daughter,
Mm-hmm.
just to be at peace.
Sure.
And I hope that we are using this as a good example of why it's so important for us to pay attention to what young people are doing when they're online and instilling certain things in them so that they are not falling down these dark recesses of the internet and harming others.
I would say that for this particular case, my heart goes out to the family of the victim. And I would personally say that this type of person who allegedly did this action is not created in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
There are specific factors that have to align that unfortunately are super normalized within the current generation
Mm-hmm.
of kids out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's worth examining, researching, and keeping note of if you are a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like there's a lot of kids out there who are fucking incels popping up,
Mm-hmm.
there are also a lot of kids who are just super accessible when it comes to internet and social media content and parasocial relationships, as well as developing all of these feelings and thought processes without any context or guidance from parents to help mold and shape them. Context and guardrails for kids are important. Context and guardrails are important for the development of kids in this world where internet and social media are super accessible. So we're going to stay on top of the David case for any new developments as the trial continues to proceed. But we're going to switch gears slightly from a music person who used their power and influence to do harm to a social media prophet who used their power and influence to do harm. We're going to be talking about the cult of Nature Boy.
Prophet is doing a lot of work.
Well, to be fair,
A lot of heavy lifting.
He changed his name from a lot of different things. At one point, he was just Nature Boy. At another point, he was Chief. At another point, he was the Three God.
It was terrible.
It was a lot. How about you set the stage for us?
All right. So basically, Eligio Bishop, originally from New York, he has a lot of different lives. All right. So before he became Nature Boy, he lived in Atlanta as possibly an escort. He was possibly doing SW, possibly a strip. Well, he was a stripper. He did corn, allegedly gay for pay.
He was a barber. He also admitted to doing corn. LGBTQ corn specifically.
Gay for pay. He was gay for pay.
Yeah, he was gay for pay.
Well, now for the pay,
it's not alleged. He admitted that.
No, he did. He did a gay for pay, but it's I don't honestly know if it was for pay. I don't really feel. I feel like it was
fair enough.
He says it.
I don't know if it was for the love of the game.
I think that he had a lot of pieces about who he was, that he was tampering down.
He ultimately entered the social media sphere under the name Nature Boy.
Yeah. He was supposed to be vegan, getting back to nature, very pro-black, anti-capitalist, which...
A part of the conscious community.
Yes. And a lot of, I have looked back at some of his old initial videos. Not something that I would have thought this guy is going to end up in prison for life. Due to what because it just felt like, people, especially in the last, I would say, decade or so, they've been using social media to connect with others to try to get out of the matrix of capitalism and being more aware, becoming woke, and engaging in, getting closer to their spirituality, especially Black people connecting with traditional spirituality practices, becoming vegan, becoming one with nature, and wanting to remove themselves from just the lie of our society that you have to work every day of your life for all these years to mean something, and that there's more to it. So he honestly, looking back, especially from my time as a vegan, a lot of the things he started saying initially made sense, or were things that people were talking about, but then it devolved into basically him wanting to be king of folks and to becoming a cult leader and creating this cult where he was doing physical and mental harm to folks. Some people lost their lives because of this. People were denouncing their families. They were giving him all their money, leaving the country, and just completely upturning and upending who they were. And then now he is, like I said, in prison in Georgia for life.
He started out as Nature Boy.
Mm-hmm.
He, promoted this sort of natural, holistic idea of getting out of the country, being one and attuning with nature. Yeah. He was a heavy presence on social media. Mm-hmm. That's how he got his claim to fame. He was an influencer before influencer was the keyword influencer.
And that's how he got his recruits.
That's how he got his recruits.
Videos on YouTube and Facebook and things like that. People would see it. They would become a part of the community. And he would eventually, as people started coming with him to go to, for instance, I think Costa Rica was the first place they went to, he was using the other members to get more folks.
Yes, he recruited young Black people using YouTube and Facebook by promising this idea of Black utopia, veganism, and a return to nature. Throughout the doc and the Hulu and the YouTube doc, what is chronicled is this morphing into something more, I would say, insidious over time. Yeah. He recruited these people, these young Black people, and some white people as well. And people of all stars and stripes, but his followers were primarily Black. Over time, there were rules that were enacted by him. Mm-hmm. He would coordinate who would be married to whom. Mm-hmm. Over time, he collected wives under this bigamy sort of... Is it bigamy?
Polygamy.
Yeah, sorry. sorry,
Same,
under
similar
this
things,
polygamous idea set.
but not even a polygamous ideal set, because being polygamous or polyamorous, in its truth, it's that you can have multiple wives, multiple husbands, and you are creating community within each other. But his was very much a warped sense of polygamy, because it was 100% about control. It wasn't about the community. He wasn't looking to take care of anyone. He wanted everyone to basically take care of him. So he wasn't actually wanting to be polygamous. He was just trying to hoard these relationships, because even within the idea of, he was using his members to get other members to come, because they're like, oh, you see this person, you think they're attractive, you start talking in their DMs, et cetera, et cetera. They come down thinking, okay, I'm about to start dating Olmec or whatever. Next thing you know, he's putting the moves on you. And even if you're saying no, eventually that no is going to be forced into a yes, because he's going to separate you from your husband or try to sow discord between the relationships. And even at some point, they talk about how he got two Airbnbs. I forget which country they were in, but he got two Airbnbs, made the men stay in one Airbnb, and he stayed in another Airbnb with all the women, because he wanted to be able to have sex with them whenever they wanted to, and I mean, the husbands would not have said no, because they were just as brainwashed as the women, but just without having the men there as any sort of like barrier.
Right. So literally, like the essentially, he was at the top. He had a harem of women that he called his queens. There was forced labor. There was sexual coercion, and members being forced to, like you mentioned earlier, break ties with their family. They got kicked out of multiple different countries.
Yeah, first they got kicked out of Costa Rica. Then they got kicked out of Panama, Nicaragua, and then when they came back to the States, they tried to go to Hawaii. They got kicked out of Hawaii because when they got there, it was during the pandemic.
They were in Mexico at one point.
Oh, they were in Mexico. I don't know if they were ever kicked out of Mexico, but they were there for some time.
But they were basically menaces wherever they went.
Yeah, they weren't listening to any rules. They didn't care about anything. Even when what they were doing was they would go live, and they would always try to, antagonize the police there. Unfortunately, they were using the like Black Lives Matter movement. In my opinion, they were using the Black Lives Matter movement to bolster their claims, and try to say like, oh, look, people are oppressing us, when it's like, no, countries have rules. Every country has rules. And when you're going there and they just want you to like stamp your passport and you're refusing, that can really, you just can't do that. And so they would try to use the lives to, what's the word? Force their narrative.
Yes.
And make people feel sympathy for them, when in reality, they weren't doing anything. They weren't doing good in the country. And the part that really, like, to me, looking at both the Hulu documentary and the YouTube, what was that, Hood Horrors?
Hood Horrors, yes. Hood Horrors has a detailed chronicle of the entire history of Nature Boy and the carbonation melanation cult. The unique aspect about Nature Boy and his cult is that they were on social media constantly.
Yeah.
So the Hood Horrors YouTube channel has a chronicle of literally all of the instances that they were on social media.
Yeah. And it was just like, you're getting to see him abuse people physically, mentally and emotionally. And it's really sad. And also, I would say, perplexing to me in a way. Because you know that, like, with cults, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. Anyone could get brainwashed by a cult, right? Some would say we are in a cult of America, that this idea that's been pushed on us, we're believing it, we're feeding into it, and we keep the machine going regardless of how like harmful it is, right? So for me, the part that's so confusing is how people were able to be sucked in so much via just YouTube or Facebook or whatever, just watching the videos, and then not even just watching the videos, because if you're seeing, okay, they're living in Costa Rica and there's waterfalls, it's beautiful, they're meditating and it seems so natural and peaceful, etc. I could understand how someone could feel like, you know what, I want to go there, I want to join. But then the parts when you're seeing him smack people, berate them, just say vile and disgusting things to them, that's the part where I really get confused of how people saw that and still decided to go.
It's the cult of personality. If anybody who is charismatic and they have a strong pitch, they can convince anybody of anything. It's not an intelligence thing. It's not a...
No, of course not.
It's not a smarts thing. I personally believe that anybody, regardless of intelligence, is susceptible to a charismatic person and a strong pitch.
Yeah.
Like, I got sucked up into Amway, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, yes. Anything where it's telling you, if you put your time and money into this, I'm going to help you. What
was the woman Amway?
Herbalife?
Yeah, Herbalife, or selling that makeup bullshit.
Mary Kay?
Yeah. Like literally anybody
Avon?
can Avon. There it is. That's what it is.
Because my mom sold Avon.
Yeah.
My mom sold Herbalife.
Yeah.
She never did Mary Kay, but I know a lot of women who did.
Yeah.
Someone tried to get me with Amway some years ago.
Yeah. It was Quickstar when I got sucked into.
Yes, I do remember that.
But
one.
anybody of any intelligence can be sucked up into a cult, into an MLM, into anything. What makes this very unique is because of how much they put on social media and how they use social media as a tool to gain recruits, to gain influence, to gain following, to gain donations and support in a lucrative way. And even after the fall of Nature Boy, as you've said earlier, he is serving like jail time for life. The followers who ended up splitting off, who were there from like the beginning to the very end, are still utilizing a lot of the same tactics that they were brainwashed into getting into that cult.
I mean, you have there seems to be like two or so different sectors. You have
crazy.
The original, like you have the members who are like the two wives and the two men who are still following him and fighting for him to try to get him out of jail. And then you have other members that were in Carbon Nation who have left. They have denounced him, denounced what he was doing, but some of them are still getting intertwined with other cult leaders that are getting intertwined with, Jaguar Wright made an appearance, which was crazy to me.
Very crazy. I would say that there are three sectors. There are those who still follow Nature Boy, his two wives, and those two followers, Juju and Jax, I think, or something like that. There are the ones who have completely distanced themselves, whether they were a part of it for the whole time or part of it for a little bit, revolving door. They've completely separated. And then, but the troubling thing is the middle part. The ones who have left and have denounced him, but are still using the same rhetoric and are still kind of like programmed within the realm, have not really detached themselves from cult-like behavior. And I would say that the two who prominently follow that mold are Velvet and Solar.
So, I mean, Velvet, I think, when I think about her, a lot of them, because he started this in 2017, and I believe she connected with him around that time, but she was she had just dropped out of college. She had had a very difficult upbringing. And so when she met him, she was a very young girl. I don't even know if she might have been 18, 19 years old. I don't even know if she was 21 yet, right? And so all of those years living with someone and having these things beat into you, both literally and literally and what is the other one? Figuratively. I think that definitely takes a toll on you. And I think that the message of Nature Boy of we should be living in community, being vegan, being one with the earth, being spiritual, that initial message is what a lot of people in the beginning, they lobbed onto. It's what made them want to be a part and what made them feel like this is something that we can do. And I think that for someone like Velvet, she believed in those things truly, which was why when he made her his queen, that they were butting heads so much, because he felt like to be a queen, you need to be shitting on everybody. You need to be ruling over them.
You need to be a bad bitch.
You know, like
his words.
And then for her, her perception of that vastly different and probably more connected to what you would know of like someone who's supposed to be a queen and a leader. It's that you're not being an asshole. It's like you're understanding the people that you're with. You're wanting them to be great. You're wanting everyone to be uplifted. And I think that from watching her videos, both watching the interviews she's done, going through her social media, I do think that at her core, that is what she feels. And I think that coming out of it, she has trauma bonded with so many of these people like Solar, right? Unfortunately, they have a child together now. So it's like,
well, to be fair, she has a
child with the other
she has a
cult
child
leader.
Yeah, she has a child with Nature Boy. She has a child with another cult leader, and she has a child with Solar, who was a part of the original cult of Nature Boy.
I think that she is when leaving the space, that she was looking for the truth, and she was going to people that she thought were connected to the truth and wanted to uplift a better message, and it looked good from the outside. And then like she gets there with the other guy, Yakin, she got there and it wasn't at all what she expected, because there's roaches everywhere and it's gross, and she wasn't getting the treatment any better than when she was with Nature Boy. When she leaves and she's by herself back home, Solar she meets up with Solar. They've been in this traumatic situation together, and I think she kind of bonded with him, thinking like, oh, you seemed so different. You wanted to do different, and that trauma connected them, and it was hard for her to move past it. And now here she is, like, just constantly having to rebuild herself. Now, Solar, I don't have anything for him. I don't really have anything for him, because he has done nothing but shenanigans ever since. Everything that we're seeing is shenanigans. Shenanigans on top of shenanigans on top of shenanigans.
Just for a quick rundown, at some point, he proclaimed after he left the cult that he was promised a daughter from Nature Boy. He got Nature Boy's 2 wives pregnant. The one who accused him of rape, he got her pregnant. Mm-hmm. Velvet, the main queen, he got her pregnant. At some point, he met up with Jaguar Wright and rubbed dead sun ashes on her and him. It was insane. Solar is a weird dude. I would say it seems like ultimately of everybody, the only ones who stayed from like the beginning to the end, who maybe came out like on a good note, seemingly, are Sheba and True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say those two. I would say those two.
Honestly, everybody in that situation, and I
my heart goes out to all of them.
Yeah, because even like Solar, as much as the shenanigans have frustrated me, I know that he is definitely extremely traumatized from the situation.
They all are.
They all are. They all need therapy. Mm-hmm. I want everyone to watch the documentary and watch the 46 part one, because it's 46 parts, but it was very informative. It went a lot deeper than the YouTube. But also just being mindful of what it means to be in a cult and like cult leader personalities, right? Because people, like Maureen said, or Mo said, anybody can be brainwashed into being with a cult. Like, all it takes is someone who's very personable, charismatic. They can have a bit of information about things. And I think that when you are of an oppressed people, I think you're even more susceptible to cults, because you're constantly looking for a better life and you're constantly looking for a space where you're not going to be struggling so much. And I think that gives you even more likelihood to fall into these traps, because someone who seems like they're going to do good for everyone and make this world a better place and help you create this utopia that I think a lot of people do have in their hearts and in their minds, you're so easy to fall into that trap.
Exactly. I personally would say that anybody's susceptible to cults, into the cult of personality. Just be mindful. Just be wary. Just ask a lot of questions. And honestly, do some research. Do some like deep diving, critical thinking research when it comes to, is this a thing that you should join? Is this a thing that is going to harm you? Is this a thing that's asking more of you than what they're offering? Are they going to change your name? These are questions that you should ask before committing yourself to any organization. And that has been Pop Topics! So what we're going to do, since both of those things that we just talked about were very jarring, we're going to do something a little bit different. With that being said, I'm introducing a new segment that I spoke about on a previous recent episode. I believe it was my birthday episode, called Odie's Anime Breakdown. Breakdown. So essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to give Odie 2 minutes to describe an anime that I've watched and that I've watched around her.
All right.
I want her to legitimately describe, she can describe what she wants. She can describe the plot. She can describe the characters. She can name the characters. She can name the system or the power system that exists. But I want to hear her describe what I have watched as far as anime is concerned.
All right.
The anime that we're going to discuss today on Odie's Anime Breakdown is Jujutsu Kaisen. You have 2 minutes to describe Jujutsu Kaisen, the anime that I watch a lot. Go.
Okay, Jujutsu Kaisen is about a group of students at a school. They have powers, and one of them is a sorcerer, or no, their powers. They are sorcerers. They are trying to kill demons. Are they the demons, or I forget the name that they call them, but they're killing demons, or they're trying to. And they all have varying different powers. And there's the main character. He comes to the school. He's new and he's learning about the powers. I think that in this world, some people have powers, some people don't. And so the ones with the powers, they get sent to this special Hogwarts school of sorts. And then as they get powerful enough, they're able to help rid the world of these demons that want to take over and eat people.
Okay, so you have less than a minute left. Can you describe a scene?
The students are all together at the school, or they're in the woods. There's been a demon that they're fighting, and they get all the way from the woods to like a lake or ocean, it's a body of water. They're fighting there one person almost dies. One of the good guys almost dies. And then there's some evil magic users who I think are on the side of the demons. And they're fighting against them. And I want to say one of the evil bad guys is a woman who is in love or with one of the students, or maybe one of the students is in love with the evil woman.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop you there. That was 2 minutes. Couple of things. One, for this series of segments, I want you to be as specific as possible.
I was very specific.
You are using a lot of vague
as possible. I do not know these people's names. I don't know the name of where they are.
You are using a lot of vague.
I don't know the name of the school, and I gave you all the information that's in my head.
Here's where you're right. You're right that there's a school. You're right that they're students. And you're right that they're sorcerers, right? The creatures that they're fighting are not demons. They are curses.
Curses. I knew it was something, but okay, great. All right, they're curses.
Okay. You were right in describing a scene that took place in the woods in a lake. I believe that is in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
Still sort of vague language.
I don't know these people's names.
I know that you don't know these people's name. Like, none of them stood out to you at all?
No. None of them. If you named someone, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Well, anyhow, so that has been Odie's Anime Breakdown.
So what is the what did I get for that?
It is a quick segment as a palate cleanser from the dark shit that we just got finished talking about.
But what did I get? What is the grade
What do you mean?
I got?
Oh, it's not a grading thing. I want
a grade.
You want a grade?
Yeah.
All right, you get a D.
D?
Yeah, a D. Of literally every. First off, you named no characters.
So
you didn't name the power system. The
power system demons. Are curses and demons not a synonym?
No, they're not.
I would say
curses and demons are different.
If you're cursed, that's demonic.
No.
So it is
literally within the realm of Jujutsu Kaisen. Curses are manifestations of negative energy that is created
demons
from humans, whereas demons are.
I'm looking up the definition of demon.
You can totally look that up, but what I'm telling you is that they are not the same. Demons and curses are not the same. Literally, you got students and school, right? Which might as well just be
and they're
one.
Sorcerers.
And fine, you got you got school and sorcerers, right? That's it. That is all you got, and you kind of described
a scene
in the woods where you get points taken off. Is this what was this thing about? This somebody who falls in love?
Because I think the woman that was fighting, one of the characters. It's either the character either liked her or whatever, or they were friends, or maybe they were friends. Who knows?
Is this a recent thing that you saw?
I think so.
And you're describing the Chainsaw movie.
No, I'm not. I wasn't in here when you were watching that.
You were in here when I was watching the Chainsaw movie.
It wasn't that recent. It wasn't when you were watching Chainsaw. It was a Jujutsu Kaisen one. I don't remember what it was, but I remember that was a piece of it because they were on at the water. Somebody got a bunch of knives in them, and the other person that came through, who was a woman, she was either in love or he was in love with her. I remember that.
Someone got knives in them. So somebody got stabbed.
They got sliced up. I don't know if it was knives. It could have been power that sliced them up. But either way, they were bleeding on the ground, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to both beat these evil sorcerers while also working through whatever, getting out of the way of the curses.
If I would love to help you out, if only there was more specifics. But either way, that has been...
Bless you.
Thank you. Either way, that has been Odie's Anime Breakdown. All right, we're going to slide away from that now. With that being said, we're going to go into the things that made us mad. What's making you mad this week?
He didn't even get a full verse. All right. So there's a social media post that I saw that is annoying me. I'm going to share it. And it's annoying me because it's misinformation. And I think that we have enough of that going around these days that we don't need to perpetuate it, right? So this Instagram account, Essence of Black Culture, posted this picture of Kevin Roberts, who's the president of the Heritage Foundation, stating that he got a PhD in African American history and then used it to author Project 2025 and dismantle civil rights. And I'm pissed off at this one because if you would have seen right now, it has over 28,000 likes, 3,000 comments, and more than 7.5 what is it called? Reposts. And so when I saw this, I was like, well, that's crazy. I'd never heard of that. Like, that seems really diabolical if that is the case. And then I went on to his LinkedIn. He has a PhD from the University of Texas at Austin in American history, which is also validated by his bio on the Heritage Foundation. And I would like to just be, I'm really annoyed that they even made me go to the stupid website to read anything about the Heritage Foundation. But I think that these things matter. I think that they are conflating his PhD with American history with, I believe he wrote a paper on American slavery. And like the impacts of it and West African culture, et cetera, like that. But that's not the same as having an African American history PhD, right? I think that 100% the people who are working to dismantle the rights we have in this country, I do believe that they have studied hard African American history, women's history, queer history, etc., to look and see how they can placate and change things and brainwash people into believing what they want them to believe and cause a lot of division. But I think misinformation like that, especially when you have a large platform, it's really important for you to just do a simple fact check. Like Google it, Joogle it, figure it out, and then put it up. And the fact that so many people, because it's such a large platform, they're going to see that and take it as truth and then go off on that and, say whatever they're going to say and move through through that lens with that misinformation. I think that's really shitty. So that was pissing me off. I want everyone to just, when you see something online, take a moment, take a breath, do a quick Google search and find out whether or not what the people are posting is true, because a good portion of the time it's going to possibly be either 100% fake or it's going to have some inconsistencies that are important and that you should pay attention to. And there's enough things that are happening in this country that we are being lied to about that we don't need to add to the fervor, right? Figure it out, Google it. The internet is free. It's in the palm of your hand. You're walking around with a little computer. And I want you to do the actual research that everyone's talking about. I researched it. I looked it up. Just Google it. And I bet you're going to find a credible website that will give you the information that you're looking for. What's making you mad this week?
My life and the circumstances surrounding my life. Very frustrating. I'm frustrated with myself. I'm frustrated with the people around me. I'm frustrated with my circumstances. I'm frustrated with the flooding of inboxes, of emails, of rejections. I'm frustrated from top to bottom. It's a frustrating time for me and not very happy about any of it. With that being said, we're going to move from the things that are making us mad to things that are making us happy.
I'm the baby merchant. Cats are us.
What's making you happy this week? I went first last time.
What's making me happy this week?
Mm-hmm.
I finally finished my podcast project.
Okay.
It literally took longer than it should have.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working on it since my birthday, roughly. It took a lot of engineering and honing in and dialing in, but I finished it. It's done. It's in the wind. It's behind me. It's in the past. So
great. Good for you.
I did something I set out to do, and I achieved it, and I saw it all the way through. So with that, I appreciate that. What's making you happy?
I went out with my work bestie on what was that, Saturday? Got to hang out with friends. Shout out to you, Kai. So that made me happy. Of course, doing this podcast with you, getting to spend time with you, and doing this podcasting thing, that always makes me happy.
All right. Yeah. Now, with that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for enjoying the show. We will be back next week with more of this. Until next time, take it easy, keep it sleazy. I'm Mo, aka Kid Licorice.
And I'm Odie.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening, Snerds.
Keep the show growing. Listen, comment, and download on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, or watch full episodes on YouTube.
Follow the show at Black and Snerdy.
Follow me at Licorice is Legit.
Find me at That'sOD_E on Twitter and at That'sOD.E on Instagram.
This is the Black and Snerdy Podcast,
where nerds of a feather flock together.